Yeah. So Tim, if you could, click on the. It's probably recording live from your screen. So if you click on the screen share of on the bottom, yeah, there you go. I think I think we see it. Do you guys see it?
Does
Yeah.
everybody see that? Yeah.
The this thing
Yep.
right there. So basically, what we could do is we can put our names, right? We could put pretty much go through the list and make our team, basically our voting community. I think I got everybody. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of us. So let's say there's going to be 36 coins total, and that'll give each of us 6 coins. So we're going to start the voting process, and there's our list of members. I see Tim. Tim, you're on the YouTube.
Sorry,
Yeah,
man.
you're bringing up the
No
perpetual data.
No worries.
Sorry, man. Sorry.
Of course. So if you guys could see that, there's the list of each of us here, 0 through 5. So there's a list of 6 of us. So then what I would do next is, let's say, making the first proposal. So what I would then do is say change the button from gray to blue. And then I can make that proposal using my, I mean, this is just like to get the functionality out there so we all see it, but you have the 0, so that'll correspond to my name, so I can make the proposal as 0, and that'll say change and it takes the first 10 letters of the title, or of the text, it just says change and then the name of the person who made it. So now we could all go and vote on that proposal by typing in the number, the ID corresponding to it, and who we want to vote as. So in this case, I'll vote as myself. And I can go ahead and pull up the text, change the button from gray to blue. I could vote for it. So I could put one vote in favor of it, or I could put all 6 votes that I have because of the coin, the amount of coin we allocated in the beginning. So I can go ahead and just vote up to 6. So then I could close that, and then I could vote. Anybody else want to vote?
Yeah. Vote me in for
Yeah.
blue.
So David wants to vote in. He wants to vote on the 0 proposal as number 2. He's the second guy. So then this one's very centralized, obviously. David, how do you want to vote?
Blue.
4?
Yes.
All 6? Okay, so we'll go
Yeah.
1, 2, 3,
All
4,
six.
5, 6. So
Yeah.
all 6 votes towards changing the button to blue. Anybody else care to vote?
3 against, whatever it is. Whatever's going on, I vote against.
All right. Well, what's going to happen is if we get 18 votes in favor, it's going to be passed. And if we get 18 votes against, it won't be passed. So if you guys don't mind, I'll just vote
Put me in for 5, Daniel.
Okay. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if 2 more votes, we're going to change the button from gray to blue. And we'll see the passed sign here on that proposal. And Tim, you want to go one more and then maybe
Put me in
someone
for
else?
2 more, Daniel. Go on. I'll go the whole hog.
Wait, we can't. 'Cause it'll...
5 for me. No.
All right. So I
I'll
think
see that and raise you.
I think I heard Paul wants to vote in favor of the blue button and pass the changing. Passed. Did you see that? We reached 19. We reached the majority, and we passed the proposal. So now,
Quick question.
Yeah, of course.
What determined the 18 votes? What's needed?
We made 36 coins
Oh,
total,
okay. So
and there
so
was
if you
6 of
collected
us. Yeah.
50%, that's what it was based on. Okay.
Yep. So this is like a very crude, functional demonstration of the voting app that we'll have.
Can that be changed to say out of the total amount of votes,
Yeah,
for and against, like the higher one wins.
yeah, yeah, absolutely,
Okay. So you can customize it. Cool.
absolutely. So
Very very cool.
so I pretty much put together like this app here, and obviously it's like a basis. It's just proof of that this stuff could be done. Now imagine we don't have to. This is very centralized because I'm doing everything here, right? Now imagine we each had our own client, and we ask, we're friends. We're all on the same chat room. That's how we got here. So imagine we all said, look, we're about to talk about a proposal, and we're about to use an app, or we're forming a voting group. Here's the invite token, and everybody would be able to claim the coins using the invite token. And then you use your own application. You don't have to type a 0. You just log in, basically. And then the votes would be tallied up. You'd post your coin to the SAFEnetwork, and we'd know how many votes happened, and they'd be unique to your token. And that's the voting app. So it's an imminent design type thing, like to have voting.
Cool.
Yeah. So
I have a question.
definitely.
Now this is we're talking about SEC here spread out over various things. How do you establish the initial pool from which you tally? In other words, how do you know your quorum, or how do you know
Yeah.
when you have a winning vote? You have to know how many votes are. Where do you take that sum from?
Yeah, so in this case, it's the number of people. So when we started up the app, I'll start it up again. So when we started up the app, it's adding people to the list. So and then we tell how many coins to distribute. So in this case, we had six names we put into the list, and then the minimum number of coins is going to be 6 if there's 6 people.
Right.
And then there's a demand for a modulus of 0. In other words, you can't have extra coins. There has to be an even distribution of all the coins to all the people in this application. It's just how it works.
In this application, right?
Yeah.
Right. No, I got that. I got that.
So we put 6 names, and we put the number of coins as 36, and then we determined, well, it's built in that 50%, over 50% will equal a pass, and over 50% against will equal a fail.
Of course.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that really was. It wasn't my question specifically on how this piece of software works, but in the network at large, have you really worked out or thought about, well, how? I mean, we've got 2 billion coins out there. And some of them are committed and some of them aren't registered. Is it just amongst the uncommitted yet registered coins that it has to be taken, or can it be? Is there some group based upon those that have expressed interest after a certain amount of announcement of the vote?
Yeah, that's a good point. So,
Yeah, because you got to have something to take that total from.
yeah, so I think unregistered coins will be. I think that there has to be some registration process in advance to make sure people are committed, like you mentioned. And to do that, we can accept a signature from the coin holders, and that way if they changed how much they own, it would change the outcome. And that also means that idle coins won't be included in the total. But I do see a case where, so like there are logarithmic ways to deal with the voting process, where if like, let's say only 10% of the coins are registered, where 80% are inactive. So over time, if you get, let's say you give it a month and you tell the world about the proposal, we still need to be able to pass legislation, so to speak, even though only 2% of the whole community actually voted, right? So
Sure.
I think that there are logarithmic systems that we could include that would say, imagine we needed to get 19 votes in this case, and imagine only one person was voting, we'd never get anything done. So, and we want to respect the process. So, I think that's a significant detail to shell out.
Yeah,
Bands.
I can see there's some real things to be hashed out there because, as to whether you you can only, I mean, and there's a difference between voting on a contract or voting on somebody up or down, as opposed to voting on something that has to do with exchange policy.
Mm-hmm.
That might be the kind of thing where there has to be an announcement that's made, posted in like in someplace where people could see, and then at some point registration of committed coins could be closed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, because otherwise it's all in the wild, and
it's pretty much
nothing
voting
determined.
registration. Yeah, that's actually a brilliant idea, is to do a voting registration where, like, here's the issue, here's the discussion about the issue, now it's time to vote on the issue, and only people who registered, and it's an open registration system, right? So
Right.
it's like anybody, actually, I think that kind of solves another issue, is like, so originally the design I had suggested was you have to register your token before a proposal is made. Now, so that's registering the token. Now, what if you can register to vote after a proposal has already been issued? And the voting registration process would pretty much solve that issue, where now, okay, you can read the proposal in advance, go and acquire coins, register those coins to vote, and only the coins that were registered to vote would be counted.
Right.
So even
And then the number of coins registered would be held in secret to the network, or perhaps because you go. I don't know. I'm not. Those are things to be thought through as to whether that should be public.
You're talking about swing voting, aren't you, Fergus?
Well, of course.
Yeah.
What
Because they're
happens
looking.
is somebody goes.
They're looking at the
and
total,
going,
and they're gonna say, "Oh, I'm gonna pump some more money to get."
I've got
Yeah.
a bunch. I'm gonna register a bunch here so I can swing
Yeah.
the vote the way I
Swing
want
voting.
it, and bully my way in.
I think
Because that's a major potential with people who, especially since these things are not going to be. I mean I don't see how by the end of the crowd sale we're not going to have a quite a few people holding pivotal chunks
right.
of stuff, and so if they were really all dispersed fairly evenly and we could assure that would be one thing. But
Well, another important factor, I think, is
that's something to get around of. Yep.
well, I was going to say that the proposals are non-binding. That's another important thing. It's like, even though the opinion is expressed, and it's like, what if somebody wants malware installed? Like, and just veto that pretty much. Like, just community.
Right. Well, let's
now
now we've got to install spyware of something that phones home to the NSA. Yeah.
Yeah, so in such case, it's just not going to be honored. And like, just recently I read a tweet that said 195 countries did something on a non-binding legal document.
Hey, Daniel, I hate to interrupt you, but I suggest you turn off your video because your audio is really suffering.
Oh.
At least for me. I don't know if anybody else is having the problem with you. Can others hear him clearly?
I can hear him fine.
Yeah, I can hear him
Okay,
pretty
it's
good.
my end. All right, sorry, it's not you. Let me duck out and rejoin.
Daniel, can I stop screen sharing now, or do you still need the screen?
I think I'm done demoing.
Cool.
That's awesome.
Just for everyone's information, we're talking about the voting app, right?
Yes.
Okay. Some people might be wondering what we're talking about.
Yeah, including me since I arrived late.
Yeah.
We've
That's
just about
actually-
maxed out.
It's a very
yeah,
cool
I said
thing.
Go ahead. Yeah, it is. It is.
Here's a link to the tweet that I was bringing up. I guess I should just So a negotiation tactic brought 195 countries to consensus in where was it? Right, in a climate change summit in Paris, where the fact that it was non-binding, non-legal binding, resulted in people agreeing to the proposals that they were making. So I think that gives a leeway, an objective leeway for projects and like just what people do. I mean, what we're going to be doing. I think if they're not legally binding, then we can evaluate them objectively before we vote them into our process. So.
Well, it seems to link in really well, and I don't really want to go over it, but I recommend you all kind of do some research into. I had Lee Travis on the other day, and he's called a thing called Lobby Voice, and I think that's really sort of ties into this whole area. And I know, again, I mean, me and Travis have been talking all day about it. I mean, I don't know how much you want to mention, Travis, about your kind of thing, because we're all kind of thinking about the same thing about how to decentralize this kind of voting system. And I know that your app, particularly Travis, that you mentioned today, we're talking about play. You know, he's on the same thought process.
Yeah. So yeah, I just finished your interview with Travis Lee, and it's pretty amazing. It's quite interesting how similar thought process it is a lot of us. So no, absolutely. Are you all there?
Yeah, I remember that interview. Yeah, I remember reading about it and listening.
So I sent out the message earlier for the website I've just started working on, CrowdSafe, and I'm hoping to integrate the same kind of process with voting and giving people a voice, but then also being somewhat resistant to being manipulated. Because the whole purpose of having an autonomously, decentralized autonomous organization or company or anything else is basically so we don't have to trust. And so if the system can be corrupted, then it's no better than what we already have.
Yeah, so I think it's important to cryptographically differentiate between people's voices and to understand what people demand. However, at the end of the day, you got to make logical decisions. And some things are binary, and some things aren't.
Yeah.
So.
And Daniel, I think with your crowd sale is a perfect example. Yeah, you wouldn't expect it to be even. The people that invested the most upfront into your project and your plan and believe in you, then they should have the most say on, in the future. So I don't know why that has to be completely fair by any stretch. And the projects that I hope to host on CrowdSafe, it's the people that are invested the most have the most say in how things go.
Right.
I don't see anything wrong with that.
But also, you want to maintain the vision. So I think like let's say an NSA operative came around and contributed to the crowd sale and bought 50% against all the odds. No matter how many people attacked that 50%er, he kept buying. Now, that NSA operative is going to, or whoever they might be, that adverse party. Let's say they're proposing things to alter the source code for spyware. We brought it up a little bit earlier. In such a case, then we should just not honor that. I mean, it would just be preposterous and illogical and against the vision of the project itself. So I think if it's clear like what is trying to be accomplished, then it'll be clear what kind of proposals are acceptable.
Yeah, that makes sense. And boy, if we can get that right, then done something pretty amazing for the world, for sure.
I believe that, and I think since it's open source software, it's pretty simple to enforce logical logical proposals. I mean, changing the button color is kind of it has aesthetic purpose to it. But let's say if the brand colors are blue and people want it to be green, and I think that it should be like, I guess if everybody wants it to be green when it's blue, I guess it should just become green because it's kind of like inane. It's not harmful, right? I wouldn't call it inane, but it's not harmful. But to add a spyware or some kind of malware to the code, that's harmful and should be just completely ignored.
Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense. So Daniel, have you seen Travis Lee's interview?
Yeah, I think I listened to like the first maybe 30 minutes and was just pretty much excited about it. Yeah, and I'm wondering if he was gonna come on tonight, but actually when I was watching that I was wondering if he'd be there. But he has a
seems like you guys should get together for sure. The two of you,
Well,
of you I think could have a very synergistic effect on each other.
I think so.
Well, just to interject there, I mean, he is hoping to come along tonight, but as you know, and it's his internet connection is quite ropey, so it's just a case of whether he can drop in. But I think this is the reason I mention this, because I agree with you, Travis. I think there's a great synergy between what you're doing, Daniel, and equally, Travis, what you're doing, because as he mentioned at the end of our conversation, he's looking for just a 5-team core of developers, and it's just trying to, like we all are, with all the people trying to develop, apps for the Safe Network. We're just now looking for that next step, which is basically attracting the developers. So it's just about connecting. And I agree with you, Travis. I think we just need to connect people like Daniel and all our like minds in different ways. So if he doesn't join tonight, I'll just say we'll try to get in a private conversation at some point, because, like I say, there's a lot of synergy between what's going on at the moment, which to me is only a great strength, because it's like any great invention or any great moments in history. When the light bulb came, it didn't just come from one source, it arose from many different parts of the world, and we're seeing the same now. We're seeing a lot of people come to the same solution, which to me says it must be a correct solution.
Yeah, sincerely, I think that I think it would be awesome for Travis to kind of communicate with us for the purpose of if he's very enthusiastic, which it sounded like in his when he was on pod and stuff. The thing that I got from it is it's just the rating system, pretty much. It's like all forms of governance on a decentralized network. So if there's some person who can curate that system, that would be very helpful. There was another guy on the forum named Grismoblust, and he reached out to me. He was very enthusiastic, said something about he quit his job recently and he's all about now coding. He's a coder, in fact. So I don't remember which platform. I don't think it was Rust, but it might become Rust. But I guess what I was trying to say is like the curation process. So it's like you got like music handled by N99 at the moment, pretty much. You've got SafeX exchanging stuff. We've got governance systems. So there's a room for kind of like claiming the flag, so to speak, and taking responsibility for that sector. So I think that the step in advance is pretty much like understanding, look, there's so many sectors to cover. I hope that, my launching the crowd sale is just an inspiration to people to understand that we have an ecosystem pretty much that if you're going to be responsible and fly the flag for that thing, do that and do it well and, present about it, I think. So
Yeah, that makes sense. The tricky part, though, is when there's a lot of overlap. So kind of what I want to do is offer an easy way for people to crowd sell, launch their projects without having to build a website and keep track of funds and make it easy for them. But also on the back end, how to enforce kind of the agreements they make with the crowd that funded them. And
Yeah.
the more autonomously we can have that run, just the easier for everybody. Then we can focus on coding stuff that betters humanity. So, it seems like both of you guys, I need your
Yeah.
expertise in.
Well, like in
So,
our current stage, like obviously, like I could help out with the technical of the governance system and the clearing of the transaction and stuff like that. But what I'm saying is that, and like, so think about a crowd sale platform that helps to actualize the projects that we're kind of mentioning and like sectorizing, so to speak. So it's like an early fulcrum stage
Hmm.
project. It's like it's what makes us have a seesaw that we can enjoy. See what I mean? So it's like in the early stage, we kind of put all our energy into making a fulcrum, and then the length of the beam of the seesaw depends on how many folks we need to accommodate. You see what I mean? But that would come out. The beam comes from the community itself. Like the fulcrum is pretty much like, I mean, sincerely, we're like the early folks still, pretty much. Like the first 1,000 people to the trough is us.
Hmm.
So we build the fulcrum, and then the people can then expand on top of that fulcrum. So a crowd sale type system obviously needs a governance system, it needs a transaction system, and it needs a front end for presenting the content of a project. So that's three systems. It's a content management system, a transaction system, and a governance system. So once we built it once, we'll have a model for the future, and then the beam can expand. See? So, and then some people who have ideas beyond ours, perhaps in the future, will build their own fulcrum. They'll see something different from what we see or something, and they'll build another fulcrum, and then the seesaw will build on top of that. But what I'm saying is we're at a stage where we're building the fulcrum so we can merge our ideas. The overlap occurs because we don't have documentation for everything. We're kind of just building it on the fly. Whereas in the future, I wouldn't say like in a far too distant future, once all of these features are documented, people would just be reading about it. Wow. And Francis just finished building apps.safenetwork.org. Wow, perfect.
oh
That's
wow,
amazing. Yeah.
he finished it. I was
Yeah.
just talking to him today, and he was just kind of still working on it.
Yeah,
So,
he just Slack. He hit me that on Slack. He said he just finished building. He's all excited. Um, Happy Being is there. Safe
yeah.
Exchange is there. Safe Press, Decorum, and Safe Change are all there. And he says it's scalable.
Yeah.
Let me read what he says here. He says he's really excited. Started a few hours ago. He's very happy with the results. Curated collection of Safe apps. It's built to support thousands of apps. How about that?
Yeah, I think it's a fork from Ethereum's state of dApps.
Yeah,
I think.
we actually discussed it not long ago. I would say like a couple weeks ago. I just said, Francis, we really need an app store, and he said, "Well, I'll think about it. I'll look into it." And so what I'm seeing on it is it's so it can just accept anybody's application. It's a content management system.
But it's curated, so he will just make sure it.
Well, and also it looks like it's just about a bunch of hours ago it was published. So I think he'll be modifying it to let people sign up and do their own thing.
Oh,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah, he
Oh,
just
that's
So
got the
awesome.
basic grid of it built.
um, what I wanted to mention, Travis, was um, if you wanted to, like, your website has a very nice layout. Like I remember that when I clicked on the project, it presented the project very succinctly and very adequately, let's say.
Okay.
And so if you helped Francis with what needs to be on the site for the crowd sales, then maybe some kind of collaboration can happen. I mean, I don't know if you have like if you're making custom machinery for the web pages, but Francis would be an amazing
Yeah.
assistant, so to speak, for that thing where you can
It's
build.
funny.
Yeah.
It's funny you mention that because I was just talking to him earlier today on and off for about an hour.
Wow.
That very thing.
Yeah, there you go. So, yeah, and I just mentioned to Tim before we went on pod, he had asked me if I seen your crowd sale page, and I said of course, and I said that if it's organized right, like all these little projects that we're building, if we organize them well, we could have a very robust like application for people to use for in each of these segments, like crowd sale, the applications themselves, like application page, because not everybody's gonna have a crowd sale, right? So you have like an applications page, then a crowd sale, or rather, the crowd sales aren't on a continuous basis, right? That's what I'm trying to say. It's like once the crowd sale's over, it's over. So then, there has to be still some repository for all that stuff. And then the
Yep.
history of the crowd sale and the terms of the crowd sale could be preserved as well on the crowd safe info website. So
Well, that's awesome. I love
yeah,
it. That's a really
yes,
good idea.
yeah,
I'm going to make note of that actually.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Please do, because it's I think that's the way to go, and you'll come up with like a bunch of better ideas once you're getting into it. But um, at the high level, like when you look down into the earth before you get to the dirt, you can just kind of brush the details: green, blue, and brown, right?
But Daniel, on that this very kind of while we're here, I mean, you can maybe link this into because I know you went to the Future of Money conference, and it's not particularly, I don't, knowing what's going on there, but for someone who works, and deals with coders and stuff, but how fast do you think the uptake will be between once these huge steps are coming forward, like you said, the safe exchange was a huge step. Having what Francis has just put out is a huge step. Travis is a huge step. But once these are sort of the infrastructure or the ecosystem is starting to be built, my question to you is, how long do you think it'd be before that herd of coders will start to sort of be attracted in by the safe network? Do you think it's going to be a year, 2 years? I mean, I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
walk
I
in the
think it's gonna
coalface.
be. I think it's gonna be. As soon as the SAFEnetwork API is live, there's gonna be that herd is gonna arrive. Is people are
I
gonna
think I
adopt?
think you're,
Yeah,
you're I think there are people standing on the milling around the starting blocks ready to get and that's a heads up. This next class on the Safe Network on about SafeCoin and structured data, and I think it's going to blow some people's minds.
yeah. John's
And
100%
I
spot
think
on.
we're going to have people are going to the guys who actually get it are going to, because it's been blowing my mind for a while, and I don't know enough to have my mind to blow. But I think we're going to get it across where guys go, crap. It's like because what I do is to deal how SafeCoin is dealt with. I have to say there is absolutely no step that it's reserved to balance the resources of the network. Otherwise, it's a completely secure coin, but everything on the safe network is that period. And I think
We're not
that's
getting a lot of what you're saying, John. You're breaking up a lot.
we're fast.
You sound like you're being sucked back
But
into the Matrix.
yeah,
Yeah, but
the point is
nonetheless, yeah,
that these guys are going to be ripe. We're going to start getting traction really fast once the network actually starts proving itself live.
There we go.
In fact,
Yeah. Well, that was just generally my question, Daniel. I mean, I was just wondering, as we sort of stand here at the end of 2015, I mean, I mean, how much sort of traction do you think it's got right now? Is it, you know, what I mean, before these revolutionary steps where people, like I say, like John's just mentioning, but I mean, you were at a conference. Did you see many people talking about the safe network and generally, or was?
So that's a good point. Like a good thing to color on is the people who, so there wasn't all Bitcoin people there. It was actually like 5% Bitcoin people and 95% not Bitcoin people, just finance people. And the finance people are looking for the fastest, most secure, ubiquitous payment system on the planet Earth. That's what they're looking for. So they want fast and cheap. And then the people who are involved in Bitcoin, I raised the question. I said, what do you guys think of the privacy issues? And, you know, everything's on the clear on your blockchain. You know, what are you going to do about it? And they said, that's a big issue. We don't have a real answer for it. And in fact, I was approached by just about every person who heard of MadeSafe asking me for a status update. So what John was saying is 100% spot on. They're there. People are there. They might not be reading the forum every day, but the people are waiting for the MadeSafe to be launched. And the Safe API is going to be a piece of cake for people to adopt. I think that the things that I'm developing in Safe Exchange, that people, or at least that I present it in a simple way so that people can understand how to use cryptographic material inside of SAFEnetwork, structured data and immutable data. So the current Bitcoin people would understand how it's going to work, but how about new folks, and not just finance? New folks and dealing with any kind of data that they want to deal with, that they would want to preserve its integrity, like medical data, like legal conversations, or just general things, like things you don't want to let out to the world unnecessarily. So, I mean, imagine you're getting a nice gift for a relative, and you don't want that to leak to anyone. You know, like that's kind of, you know, a kind of petty example, but I think it's serious enough to consider that that people would want to even preserve that, like sharing, you know, telling someone or buying a secret gift for some person that they shouldn't know about until a certain time.
Well,
So things like that. You know.
What I found fascinating about it, Danny, as you know, and hopefully we can make some contact between me and her, and I know you made contact. But what I found inspiring was when you were saying that there was a few musicians there. We were talking about Imogen Heap being there, and I think that's we're starting to see this cross pollination between people, even in the Bitcoin world. So I mean, did she when you mentioned you know, she was there. Did she give a speech or a talk? Or was it just
she gave a 10-minute talk about when she was mentioning she was mentioning like she's been looking into kind of giving back to the artists the power, and how Bitcoin lets the artist not have to deal with a corporate structure, a corporate entity trying to siphon off the money. And it gives the artist the ownership and gives them the power to distribute their content and to directly receive their feedback, versus some corporation being middlemaning it. And just when she was saying those things, is the same thing you've been saying, Tim. It's like, give the power to the artist. They need the platform where they can own the music and then distribute it based on how they want to distribute it. And then I felt like the urgency to tell her about SAFEnetwork, because she might be going down the wrong road, looking into the wrong software, because other people use better marketing techniques to, bring in some famous person. So I was just saying, look, Imogen, there's someone very important I want you to meet. His name is Tim. you guys have the same accent and you guys talk about the same things, so you should get to know each other. And she said sure, and I tweeted her your info, and I guess she added you. I hope you guys get a meeting. If not, I hope she hears about the software of N99 in the future, though. That's for sure. But like you were saying, it's a there's a lot of it was a different crowd. There was a lot of mixture of desires, so to speak, besides, like, I mean, to be honest, I don't know what else people would talk about, but Bitcoin and faster payments and decentralization as a technology was a core principle of that meetup, that conference. It was all about who's got the most distributed, secure, fastest system to get our payments across. So, and like some big names from Bitcoin were involved in talking about things, but no one had any good answers like SAFEnetwork does.
Yeah, I agree.
Go on, Rich. Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to
Rich.
say I agree with Daniel saying this. I see a lot of projects going on and how they're pushing so hard to do things that are just going to be built right into SAFEnetwork, and it is kind of funny to see that.
I would say that that those projects are important for what they're building, and then they can see when the API is live how they fit into that. It's more like how do they take their system and adapt it to not a different system, more like a system that also affords them the privacy to their application. It's like, so how does, okay, so I developed the streaming video thing for Bitcoin. And now how do I integrate that with the SAFEnetwork is, well, I need to store that video somewhere, and I need the ownership of the video assigned to a particular person somehow. So I would use the SAFEnetwork to store that video and then stream the video and accept Bitcoin payments. Okay, sounds good. So that preserves the original intent of the coders and developers of the streaming for Bitcoins, video streaming for Bitcoins, and it includes the SAFEnetwork in a component that really solves their problem. So this is how the SAFEnetwork is integrating with everyone. We have a solution for issues of privacy.
So once the network is live, then we'll understand the latencies and whether or not SAFEnetwork could actually use like real-time massive multiplayer online gaming systems, or will SafeCoin or the SAFEnetwork have to integrate something else, like, I don't know if IPFS can handle something like that, where it's integrated with the SAFEnetwork.
So with video games is interesting because you can have an animation that takes up a couple seconds, and that would solve your latency noticeability issues. And if you think about BitTorrent, Safe is going to work pretty much. It pretty much is like a BitTorrent, except different types of messages and stuff, and a little slightly different architecture. But fundamentally, the way that information gets across is kind of like BitTorrent, and BitTorrent is pretty fast. It just has a lag in how fast it gets, and that lag, in terms of gaming, can be overcome with a animation. And in terms of videos, you got to wait 3 seconds before the thing throttles up and gets all your bits over. So I don't think it's going to be noticeable in real time. I think once you get the machine moving, it just perpetuates itself. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so that's cool. What were you going to say, Tim?
No, I was just going to say a completely random one. I was just going to say, I just recommend a film for everybody if they haven't seen it, with Christopher Walken, called Brainstorm. And I just think it's just so relevant to this conversation. I just when you were two talking then, I'm just thinking, if you get a chance, Christopher Walken, 1983, Brainstorm. Sorry, it's just crossing my mind why this conversation was going on about. It's just so relevant to this conversation.
Cool. I wanted to mention, I wanna go on that Francis's Safe Apps site and just kind of like, put a shout out about it. Maybe do a screen share.
Yeah, tweet it. We'll follow.
I'm sharing my screen.
Repost it.
We can do a screen share again if you want to do it now.
I'm sharing. So pretty much there it is, SAFEnetwork apps. Can you see that? Do we all see it?
Yep.
Wow.
Cool. So pretty much like this. But then when you click on it, it goes to a specific link. Like this one will go to SafePress. This one will go to Project Decorum on the forum. This one will go to safex.io. And then the interesting thing is here are the forum users' names links. I think that's awesome because it'll give us some credibility. Like you can go look at Seneca and see, so he's a user of the forum. I mean, look at him. He's posted 1,000 times. So
Yeah, he's got a
obviously,
history.
exactly.
Yeah.
Likewise for each of us. So I think that that's a good way to qualify people in advance for our app site. Just an idea, if we feel like we need qualifications, Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, I wanted to throw that up there.
Yeah, that's why
Travis, are you there? Just
I've talked to Seneca since then, and but that's why I'm on there is I wanted, I'm going to focus on the developers that have been working on things since the beginning.
yeah, that'll create a good basis for the future. Set a good example, I think, also. Yeah.
Well, I don't know how good my sound is. I've been on shuttles and trains and now stuck in some shopping district area.
Where are you?
Does my sound really bad?
It's not great.
Downtown Salt Lake City.
Oh. You got a lot of crowd noise is all.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, definitely have to stop what you're doing because the ANTS pod is up and live. Right, Tim?
Exactly, man. Walking around the airport showing us all to the world. But no, I mean, I was just gonna say. I mean, I have to sort of. I think what you just saying in about the history of things. I mean, I think now we're at the end of the year. It does amaze me about how exponentially how much this is all speeding up. I mean, I know a few of us have been sort of forum members for a while, and if we'd all sort of sat around a year ago and said we'd been at this point here, I think we'd all have been. I don't know if it hits our target where we thought we were going to be this time of the year. And I know often people say to me, "Oh, I thought it was going to be like." I never thought it was going to be live that or anywhere near to this point. But it's amazing to me what's inspired me this year, particularly, has been how the community has grown over the year. That's just my thoughts on it.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone else has any thoughts about it or.
Oh, I do. It's interesting that you say that. I didn't envision it this way. When I got involved year and a half, to whatever ago, I was much more the spectator and very interested in participating. Oh, to tell me what to do. Now we've got people who are, hey, we're the doers. We're not the core doers necessarily, to whatever degree, but we're really doing something, and because we see it, and we're developing something. I mean, Tim, you've got N99 going. You're developing the others. Dali, what you're doing is fucking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That's like you're getting to the heart and blood of everything. Tim, we're really out there, shouting out to people, and Rich, we're gonna get this magazine going sometime. But anyway, that's my difference.
I'm not having more time to do something right now.
I expected the network to have been up some while ago, based on what I started thinking, but I didn't understand the organic nature really. We're all too used to Microsoft just put out its new, or there's a new version of oh, well, this is changing everything. WhatsApp, man, everybody got to find it. You know, no, this is different. This is like, you know, wow, it's a completely different experience than I expected, but it's so appropriate when you really look at it, because there's a lot of people out there watching from a distance. I mean, my touchstone to it is I highly respect Andreas Antonopoulos, and I noticed that he has studiedly said absolutely nothing about the SAFE network.
Right.
And I think that's a good thing, because he's talking about what he knows about, and he doesn't have time to really know about what's going on here. But pretty soon we're going to hear from him, you know. And that when we really hear from Andreas on this, we know that we've kind of turned a corner. That's just what I think, because I hold him up as like, I look at what he's done, he's like fucking amazing in terms of being a public front, and we're not on the we don't have the wave of forward motion that Bitcoin has, because we're still the rumbling of the earthquake that causes the tsunami down the line.
Right. Yeah.
We feel the vibrations. But man, we better get our surfboards going. Start paddling now, because it's going to come. When it comes, it's going to come fast.
Yep. And I think that's I think the best case scenario, John. I've always thought this is that by the time this does sort of, and I think like when you see any great momentums in anything, whether it's people or situations or music or anything, it happens, like you said, in a flash. And when those people switch, I think the best case scenario is that it will be like, people don't need to listen to, or watch, or read books about how to use their smartphones, because they understand it. So I'm hoping that by the time it does switch, that they're not going to be needing like an Andreas or people like you, John, because it's a very thing we should be aware of. Maybe that, like you said, John, this is a very, very real point that come. X amount of time, whether it's a year's time, 2 years' time, people are going to be searching, and who are they going to look towards? The people in the forum, the people who have been there for the longest. So at some point, people are going to come around, and that's what I think has been really inspiring to from day one, is all our conversations have been out in the open. Do you know what I mean? And none of us have. We've all approached this with no ego. We've all approached it and said, look, and we've all been just seeking questions. And that, to me, is a really great model for the future. That I think future people will look and go, wow, the real big step that we've taken is we've done this all in open. And again, we've all done this. None of us have met each other. I mean, I know that some of you, and John and Daniel have met, but none of us has met. We've all done this from four corners of the world, and just done it through just sheer will and just asking questions. And that, to me, is a very inspiring thing, and that's what I think really why it's going to be unstoppable.
Yeah, absolutely. And I see our kind of hero of the moment just appeared. Hey, Francis.
Hey.
How you doing, Francis?
We've been admiring your site.
Yeah, thank you. I just did it quickly. I started a few hours ago. I have to leave now, but I just wanted to say hello.
Yeah, but it looks great. Glad you made it, Francis.
Yeah,
and
indeed.
I hope it's gonna get.
Check it out.
Lots of
show your
submission.
shirt to the camera. There you go. Represent.
Yeah.
That's going to be. That is going to be really valuable someday. Don't abuse it too much. Coffee stains and all. This was Francis' shirt. See that coffee stain? I saw him do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Don't ever wash that shirt.
I wanted to mention is like last year in the summer, I think like when I got familiar with the forum, so I thought that the network would be live so soon that we wouldn't even get to know each other, and I was just like, and there's so few people, so I felt like I can get to know everyone, and I thought it would always be that way. I thought it would just be like 100 folks, and now like I don't know, we're up to like a 1,000 folks reading a
Yeah,
day.
tell it. You got the stats on that, Francis. What are we at?
No, we have about like 450,000 page views per month.
450,000 page views per month. That's pretty cool.
430.
How many registered users?
Can check. Like 2,000 or something.
But it's also a 2% bounce rate, which means when people show up, they read things.
It's a 2%. Oh, you mean
2% bounce rate?
Only
It means
2%. Only
yeah.
2% come in and go, fuck it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, this is cool.
Yeah.
We have a sticky subject. We just don't have enough surface area yet. I mean,
I just had a vision of one of those little things you throw against the window and it slowly crawl down.
Well, I was thinking more of flypaper, but
okay.
It's kind of like it's like people talk about Bitcoin. Well, no, it's not perfect. I've heard Andreas use this quite a bit to say, well, but it's got the stickiness. It has it has enough going on and enough resources in it that it's going to be it's not going to be unseated easily. Oh, bye, Francis. Yeah.
Had to catch a bus.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
that's the thing. If you start integrating that thing into your software, it's going to last forever. You're not going to take it out.
Oh, exactly. I wasn't even looking at it from that basis, but yes. And then also it's just intellectually sticky. When you start actually grasping what this is, it fucking blows your mind. That was early on. I went, wow, because I could kind of get an osmotic perspective of David Irvine's vision, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then, especially, I started the podcast, and that was cool. But especially as I've really worked this SAFEnetwork school, I've had to dig in and really look at things in order to be able to communicate them, and I've understood so much better. And just like I was saying earlier, hopefully people can hear me now. What I was saying earlier is this next podcast is going to be amazing because when you start talking about SafeCoin really is not that special in terms of the network. It's just another piece of the network that everything will be as secure as SafeCoin. It's just got a special use. And you can make your own coin and do all these digital assets. And when people go, holy fuck, this is a secure network. Duh, it really sinks in. Anyway, sorry, I got going. I'm real excited because I'm right in the middle of preparing that and doing my study and work.
No, it's one of those things, John. I've always said this, John, and as you know, and it's all about power of word of mouth. You know what I mean? And I as you know, you're getting into an audience. We're all getting to audience, but okay, our audience may not be in the tens of thousands, but I know this for a fact. Word of mouth is such a powerful tool because it may just be one person, and then they go off and tell one person, and they tell 5 people, and before you know it, and like you said, John, and there's nothing because do you know the great thing about the whole everything about what we're building on the whole ecosystem of the SAFEnetwork is there's nothing that anybody can come along and say, oh, okay, because when they do come in and they look at it, go, oh, this is actually unbreakable, and if they do find something, they just go to the forum and say, oh, actually, I found this issue, and they can bring it up, and we're not a closed shop. That's what makes it even more, like you said, really sticky because people are like, oh, actually, this is actually logic in action, and that is very attractive, especially in the world that we live in, where everything around us we're just being sold these, fakeries and short-term solutions and just general lies. So to have something come along in the world that's actually true, based on mathematics, is a real big deal for people.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that gets back to the intellectual stickiness. It's like This is not something you get instantly. You know, and that's the hard time we're having, which is appropriate. I mean, once it's up and functioning and it starts going whiz per shebang, you know, then people start seeing the spectacular things that jump out at them. But underlying that is something really different. I mean, it's a package.
If I may, I was just remembering the the way I really got into MadeSafe was Paige Peterson kind of like explained it to me, but the first time I heard of SafeCoin, the sale like just ended or something like a week before, and I just learned of Bitcoin the day before, the week after the crowd sale of SafeCoin.
Wow.
Something like that, you know, and I just got into the Bitcoin scene and, you know, got how to say, indoctrinated, like just the day before. So then some questionable person is showing me the SafeCoin website, and the person was questionable, so I didn't really trust him. And then he showed me the website, and the website was down. Like it was like it wasn't a complete website. It was something happened. I don't remember, but I just remember seeing the website that it just wasn't the content. The content was not like you can't understand what's going on at first glance. And I'm new, and I just got to Bitcoin, and I'm coding on Bitcoin, and I don't really feel like hearing about anything else. So I just like, you know what, like forget it. You know, I'm just like, we're here for Bitcoin, and that's it. I said, you know, don't show me all this other stuff. Let's just work on Bitcoin. You know, let's continue our project. And and then it's like a month passes, and then I'm meeting up with Paige Peterson one more time because we just met at the meetup, and then we ran into each other at another meetup like a month later, and she was like officially working for MadeSafe. So I was just like, you know, I was listening to her talk for like half an hour about it, and I was just like, so you know, I need to read about it. So then I just started reading, and then I'm just like, okay, I'm quitting everything else, and I came to San Francisco to get a job in some Bitcoin thing, but I realized that that's not what I wanted. I totally don't want the Bitcoin job. I want the SAFEnetwork job. You see what I mean? And it's like that. I mean, that's just like my experience. Like that, I don't know. Maybe others experience the same thing, but it doesn't matter. I'm just mentioning like at first glance, I think the relevancy to what you were saying, John, is like at first glance, it's in depth and it's a lot of work to get into. Then you see like what it does for you, and then you want it. It's all you want after that.
Yeah, and the neat thing about it to me is that even if, I mean, it's kind of like it's almost a catalytic action. It's done something else to my world just looking at it and seeing the possibilities. Even if the SAFEnetwork just didn't happen, it has already changed. You know, it's changed my perspective on.
That's the problem, John.
That's how things can happen.
You can't make it not happen anymore. You've seen how you
exactly. No, I got
yeah. Like
no, I got that, but well, that's not my point. My point is that it's changed my perspective of how things should be and can be. Even if there's a glitch and something doesn't come off like it's supposed to, it's already changed. It's changed the perspective.
Yeah.
And it's opened up a whole new world.
Yeah.
It's the world that people are trying to open up with regards to all the decentralized technology.
So think about Andreas Antonopoulos. He too discovered Bitcoin in 2011 or 2010, discounted it, came back to it 2013. So think about Safe. It's around in 2014, and people discount it, and in 2016, people are like, well, it's about the SAFEnetwork.
Yeah.
I mean, just that. I mean, Bitcoin did the same to our minds, like what SAFEnetwork did to our minds.
Absolutely. Well, I experienced that first with Bitcoin.
Right.
But SAFEnetwork just took it about, you know, several exponential factors further.
Well, think about
beyond money, beyond just the money.
Yeah, well, exactly.
No, I was just going to say. I mean, the way to think about it, John. I mean, and imagine it was. You know, you go back maybe 200, 300 years ago, and how did before electricity was actually understood, it was left in the people of the writers and the painters, and they all thought it was, you know, an act from God, and that's exactly it. It's really hard to comprehend. Like it would be trying to sit someone down and say this is what electricity is. Even now, I mean, we can go, oh, it powers stuff, but if you actually try to describe it as in write it down or anything, it's very hard to do, and that's exactly where we are. But that's what I was trying to say. I think we are in that point where we're trying to explain something that hopefully in the future won't be needed explaining. Like we don't need to be explained to how our mobile phones work, but we all use them, and hopefully that's the same.
You're right, exactly.
But where we are right now, it is trying to explain electricity in medieval England.
Yeah,
Well, I think
exactly,
Bitcoin,
exactly.
Bitcoin has made it a lot easier to communicate and for people to
Oh,
understand.
thank heaven for Bitcoin. Thank heaven for
I mean,
Bitcoin, yeah.
I just bought some servers in Iceland because, well, I wanted to see what it would run like there. I pay with Bitcoin, and you know, I was frustrated. I had to wait 10 minutes for it to confirm. But I mean, just a few years ago, that would have been near impossible.
Well,
Wow. Yeah.
I mean,
any idea what happened last night with it took like 6 hours to move some coins.
yeah, I'm not sure.
Did you experience anything like that?
I'm sorry,
It took about 10
you broke up there.
20
What?
minutes for my my transaction to this company in Iceland to.
John, I was saying that that in that it took like
I'm
10
sorry?
hours last. Can you hear us? Hello?
I can hear you fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's breaking, and I'm almost out. I'm about to run out of battery, so I'll probably disappear. Maybe I'll join on my phone. Let me try that. All right. Yeah, if I disappear, I'll be back.
Travis, you didn't get any interferences yesterday, right?
Well, I was. That's how spoiled I've already become. I was frustrated by like a 10-15 minute wait time.
On that day when I heard of SafeCoin, when I was telling that story, so I was gonna send $20 to a friend in Bitcoin for his birthday, and neither of us ever used Bitcoin before. It was my first time using Bitcoin, and he set up a wallet. I sent $1 to him to test the wallet to make sure everything was working. So I sent him the $1, and then we saw that it's working, and it's 0 confirmations. And then immediately I wanted to send the $20 that I intended to, but it said you have to wait. You have to wait until the first transaction finishes, and then you could send your next transaction. And then I looked to the guy who was pulling me into his startup, into this Bitcoin startup, and I was just like, dude, this can't be the future of money. I should be able to send money to one person and another person and another person, all within the same minute, and you know, without this, you know, send it here, wait 10 minutes, get it back, and then send it again. I was just like, this can't be the future of money. While it could be the future of a system, it could be an improvement. Andreas Antonopoulos says like this. He says, okay, Bitcoin has privacy issues, but the banks have even bigger privacy issues. So it's the lesser of two evils. Until there's something that comes around to challenge Bitcoin, it's going to be Bitcoin, and you should just be happy with it. So I thoroughly believe in that kind of consensus. It's like, okay, Bitcoin's better than the banks. True. Something better is coming out. We believe it's SAFEnetwork. I mean, other people believe it's their network, but I think SAFEnetwork's really the only system that's offering like instantaneous transactions and cryptographic material and immutability of information, decentralization of the information. So I don't think that there's like this has been my this has been the consensus that I've understood since I learned further about MadeSafe after talking to Paige Peterson, was that there's no other project around doing something like SAFEnetwork is. So, you know, best bet is to just
It's not a.
yeah.
You're right. Nothing is complete. There's some really cool things going on. And Francis covers a lot of them. We're going to actually have an episode that that compares or that actually not really as much compares, but brings every project that's really making innovations towards decentralization, bringing them into the same corral, and looking at them and realizing they're cooperating in the right direction.
Yeah,
but that'll showcase.
I was a huge advocate of those kinds of activities with regard to exchange, where like it's best to get all the altcoins involved on an exchange, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But then, but some of them are going to compromise your privacy. But at least when you compare them all together, you could see the differences. So, like, I think an interesting effect to observe, once this corralling type thing happens, where you kind of like get a huge list of all projects, and then you see what they do specifically, and then I hope you guys keep as objective as possible, obviously, but I think the trend we would realize in the trend that most projects are leaking information. Most projects are, on a public ledger. I wouldn't be surprised that Bitcoin comes to the bottom of the list as useful software as compared to SAFEnetwork, for example, because its lack of privacy and things like that. So it's like I'll be like looking out to see like all the comparisons possible.
Right. Well, hey,
curious.
put government, blockchain, everybody else.
Can y'all hear me?
I can hear you, Rich.
Yeah, I was wondering. So pretty soon we're going to have over 10 people joining at any one time, and I think it would be cool to move the forum from Google Hangouts to some other venue. Does anybody have any favorites? One that would work better?
Rich, can I just say this? The reason it's done like this is because I get a lot of people who like to listen to these conversations, and it goes straight to YouTube. That's the thing about it. I mean, I say that because it's because there's a lot of people I know that don't want to join this conversation. I know personally, and then we'll either listen to it at some other point, and it's their only way. And I think, as you said, Rich, I mean, these other conversations we want to do them. I think can branch out, and I think there's other ways and means of doing it, and I think we can subsect out and do other things. But that's just my personal opinion.
No, I also consider that to be a good idea too, because you don't want to have people talking over people. But one thing I noticed is if somebody wanted to chime in and say they're not, of course, joining by video, or directly, are they able to communicate with you directly via some kind of chat?
Well, what we can do then is something to say. We can open the Q&A. We've never really opened them before, but we can open. There's a public Q&A. That's what we used to do back in the Safe Cafe days. Do you remember, Rich?
Right. And I think that's a decent idea. Just because I have a feeling pretty soon, I think it's awesome just to have a strong quorum, and then also to be able to, like you say, open up Q&A. It would be a really nice idea.
But
okay,
just a
thought.
No, I think it would be quite a good way. I mean, there's ways and means of doing this because, as you know, Rich, I mean, we listen to enough podcasts. There's ways and means of trimestering this, and we can do live links up, do this as an audio as well, and hit a bigger network. There's ways and means. This is a great age we live in. It's just putting some heads together, and I can't think of the better heads to knock together than we've got right here now. I've got some of the greatest minds in the world right now sat in this conversation.
I agree. I was thinking, if we were already at 10, then Francis might not have been able to join us. It was just a thought. So at this point, I know that you're right. It's nice to be able to upload this directly to Google afterwards, and there's no way around that if you went with something else. So, okay.
It could be done. It could still be done other ways. It's just not as automatic.
Exactly. Yeah, and I know it takes a lot of time to do what we do already. So. I don't want to add more.
The reason that, well, as we said, Matt Rich, and as I think everybody in this whole conversation is concurrent with, we all strive for the day when we can be doing this live on the Safe network, and we were not restricted to 10 because we've got this, more capability and more freedom. But as we're saying right now, Rich, as we've always said, we're driving along with a gas-operated car, just waiting for that petrol Ferrari. But we have to limp along till we get there.
And that was actually the thing that made me think of it was the Decorum project. And if there was any idea on that forum, that Decorum idea where they were going to add video or not, is that something that they have on their back burners? Or does anybody know?
Don't know.
Not sure. I'm sure
I
it
don't
will
think
be.
I don't need to mention that, but I'm sure that would be applicable one way or another. Audio, at least for.
Yeah, gotta remember, like development houses make so much code sometimes, and they don't release it all because they don't add it as a feature. So if Decorum had a sound sharing, then it would have
Yeah, and I think that's important because a lot of us, we don't even need the video. Just to have sound sharing is enough.
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyway, that's an aside. Sorry, I didn't mean to distract everybody. I'm going to start using that because I hear John using that all the time. Aside, that's an aside. All right. No, when you say something in your talks in your classes, and just to let people know this isn't part of the class, this is an aside, and you use that phrase a lot. So.
Or at least it's not. I'm not reading out of the. That's when I'm reading and then I give an aside.
I see a T-shirt. I see a T-shirt in the making there already.
Yeah, I'm an aside. Yeah. I'm with aside. But all right, cool. So yeah, I didn't even I haven't looked at the forums very closely lately, and as you know, like you were asking about the SafeCoin magazine, that hasn't left my mind at all. But the thing is, I am so beat lately when I get home from work that I haven't had the energy, and I'm starting to feel very upset and depressed about not being able to get to it. But I am going to get to it, and I think after this project I'm working on right now is finished, I'm definitely going to have some time freed up and start picking everybody's brains on where to go from there on the magazine project.
I haven't given it enough thought either. I've gotten busy. I've got about 5 things going on right now.
Yeah, and your classes are great. Yeah. I look forward to the classes.
Fucking work, I tell you.
No shit. Yeah, you're getting into some deep stuff, and then you are. Yeah. So,
anyway, I understand, but I'm interested. I've got another article idea, and oh god, whatever. It's fun. And then I've been traveling. I went to Maine and back.
That's a nice drive.
Hey, John, do you remember? I had a post a very long time ago. It was the Safe Network for conversations greater than 10 minutes and less than 60 minutes.
I'm sorry, you just broke up for me there.
So I had a thread that from a long time ago. Yeah, remember that one? For Safe Network for conversations greater than 10 minutes, less than 60 minutes. Do you remember?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I can't hear enough. It's breaking up.
I wanted. Can you?
Time you say stuff that I hadn't heard before, it's breaking up for some weird reason. Go ahead. Try it once more. It probably comes through.
So I made the thread that was for explaining Safe Network, more than 10 minutes, less than 60 minutes.
Yeah, and that's the thread on the Safe Network forum?
Yeah, it's from a long time ago. But the point I'm getting to is I printed out the 6 or so white papers, and then I started reading. But after a few sentences, I would realize that there was something there that I didn't know before. So I had to stop, research what that thing is, and then get back and continue reading the white paper. And by the end of reading those, Yeah, by the end of reading those 6 white papers, I have grown and understood so much about cryptography, peer-to-peer networking, routers. I mean, not the whole bit, but I got the whole picture. I learned all
Right. Well,
that stuff. Yeah.
that's exactly what's going on with Safe Network. Except, when I went through the white papers, there was so much there I knew I could not get. I couldn't go. Okay, I'm going to research this. All right. Well, let me take a year and find out all about cryptography, and then I can understand this sentence.
Yeah.
so, but yeah, it's the same thing basically. You get it at one level, and then you go back to
John,
another.
you're pretty much doing that. And I noticed in your in your teachings, it's like you're pretty much teaching the whole world about the cryptography and the safe network, the community of it. It's a really bright and amazing thing you're doing. And
Yeah, what
Thank
hit
you.
me is
yeah.
I'm getting a huge deal out of it myself. Every one of these episodes where I kind of go, what the fuck? By the time I'm able to present it, I'm going, wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I was thinking you could definitely monetize it once the Safe Network goes live and everybody's talking about it. You can go to lynda.com and all you'll have to do is clean up a few things and they can use it in there. Not clean up, but add to, with the text and the like. And lynda.com.
Simpleton's Guide to the Safe Network. Yeah, I'm already conceiving
You're on
of it.
Yeah, lynda.com.
Yeah, no,
I
that's one of my niche. Lynda.
lynda.com. That's where everyone goes to brush up on the latest techniques for everything between After Effects, Photoshop, whatever it is that's technical. They even have stuff on Bitcoin. They have people who talk about Bitcoin to explain it to people on lynda.com.
Well, hey, that might be another outlet right away for my podcast.
It could be.
Right.
Oh, well, Lynda's more for, it's a teaching, it's more of a classes. It's more like online classes. Yeah.
Yeah, the school is.
Yeah,
it's perfect.
That's true. I was thinking like it's not so much a podcast, but yeah, you're right. That as a teaching aid.
We'll
Cool.
see. Well, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but anyway, back to the. I'm not going to let you off the hook on the SafeCoin magazine, but I'm not letting myself off either. We've got to expand some ideas on that. Actually, Daniel, if you could, an article on the Safe Exchange would be really good.
Where?
I will.
Well, for the initial like a SafeCoin magazine, which it may at the beginning turn out to be more like a Safe Network, SafeCoin flyer, but but something that's at least 10 pages, but have an article in it that allows the deep explanation of all of the applications that are in solid development.
Rich, are you going to do Bitcoin magazine online? Obviously.
SafeCoin magazine, yeah, that's actually the only thing I'm going to be doing.
Not in print necessarily, right?
No, but my idea is I'm going to look into how the online magazines, like there's ones like ISSU, or it's ISSUU, it's issue.com, and anybody can post any type of magazine, something they created themselves or professional magazines, and it allows people to browse topically through magazines. So the idea would be that it's available in a format that these online magazine companies can put out. So it's available online, and also that it would be in a PDF format that's printable if anybody would like to print one up because they're going to a convention or they're representing MateSafe in some way.
Or to recompile for a glossy printout or something. That would be. I can see in the not too distant future promoting, like going to a cryptocurrency conference and promoting the Safe Network. SafeCoin magazine would be a hit, and then in it you could take advertisement for apps and services and whatever, just kind of like the Bitcoin magazines. But I mean, we don't have the resources yet, but that's coming, and
Yeah.
we're looking ahead to that. Did you read the article I wrote for it, Daniel?
I don't.
Why call it SafeCoin Magazine? I think was the name of it.
I'll grab it and post it.
Yeah, I would need to reread it because I don't remember.
I posted it
Is
on the
there?
forum for people to refer. But yeah, why call it SafeCoin Mag? Or just search SafeCoin Magazine on the forum, and you can read it. I posted it there because it was going to be a while before we get out a magazine, and that wasn't really the public that we were going to try and reach anyway.
Yeah, but what? I guess I would figure out what it's about by rereading the post.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, it's a magazine about the Safe Network, but we call it SafeCoin Magazine because, hey, everybody as I quote in the article, Danny DeVito's line out of The Heist, everybody needs money. That's why they call it money.
Yeah.
And I'm finding that's true as I get this next podcast ready because it's about this. It's hitting the sections about SafeCoin and how it works and so forth. I'm realizing that because it's about SafeCoin, I'm going to kind of be able to pull the whole network together around it. So SafeCoin Magazine's a really fucking great name for it. But it's about the Safe Network in all of it.
Yeah, and the one thing that I'm hoping, yeah, like I think we were, I guess Paige Peterson was on Life as People a while back, and she had made the point that she is a bit, she doesn't like the fact that people become too money focused, and I totally understand where she's coming from, but at the same time, I feel like, value and the ability to transmit value instantly is going to ties us all together in a beautiful way, and if you don't look at it like a greed love factor, like you're in love with the money and you want more of this and you want more of that, but you look at it more as this is probably the best unit of exchange that will ever have been invented up until now. Once it's up and running, then I think it's the perfect name for it, because this is something that allows everyone to transmit value instantly in the best way possible. So
right. Well, that's what
anyway.
That was essential. Well, yeah, because it's about the value of the network, but and so you can play down SafeCoin, but it's only possible to be SafeCoin because of the whole network. SafeCoin couldn't exist without the whole network being what it is.
Does anybody? Tim may know this. Tim, have you ever heard of Lord Monton? Tim, if he's there. Has anybody ever heard of Lord Monton? I think is his name. Anyway, he's in Great Britain. Huh?
So yeah, I was just going to say, Rich. Of course I have, because if he's British, everyone knows everyone over here. We're all
okay.
Lords.
Okay. So the reason why I asked is because he was on Alex Jones recently, and he was talking about how he's working on some type of currency that is backed by a real object, or not a real object, but has a backing of a real something of value. And I had no idea what he wouldn't get into detail about it, like maybe in his mind it's backed by gold or something, but to me, backing something by information, by data, is better than backing it by gold, so much better, because it's fluid. And so I don't know if anybody knows about what he was talking about. What's that?
Can you give us a link for this, what you just said?
Lord Monton. I'll have to dig around for it. Let me see what I can find.
If you find that, that'll be
you guys
amazing.
Keep talking.
There's some.
You can
interview.
I was just saying, if you Google Lord Monton, you find a lot about him anyway. He's not I was joking earlier on, Rich, but he is quite a well-known sort of figure. But I mean,
I figured he was. Didn't he parachute into? Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, but it was just saying that while we were on that point, I mean, it's something that Daniel mentioned the other day, and actually, if you're looking at something that actually has value, like Daniel, you mentioned this, and maybe you want to expand on it more, but every one of our computers, our laptops, our phones have actually got of value, which is not only the data they hold, but also the amount of precious metals they hold in. Is
Yeah.
that something you want to expand on, Daniel? Go on.
Yeah, I do mention that a lot of times. Is like, if you melted the whole circuit board in your computer that we're talking to on right now, you'll get a little bit of gold, and obviously it's not enough gold to make you rich. But the thing is, it's like, if you combine all of our computers, let's say we had 1,000,000 computers, now we're gonna have like a giant brick of gold worth of computing power. So besides just the data inside of the hard drives that we're storing, there's actual real physical gold anteed up. But I guess that's already obvious and intrinsic in the SafeCoin value, I think, since we're using the computer itself. But just
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because
the added effect of the gold being there, you can say that it's a fact. Like, all the computers are interconnected, and they're all made of gold a little bit.
Okay, so I just put a link to an article that I haven't read yet, but it talks about the people's plan to issue our own money. Lord Monckton lays out talent system that bypasses the Fed and inflation. So anyway, I'll read this later on to learn more about it, but I'm thinking after the Safe Network is up and running, I would think that somebody like him would be very interested in what SafeCoin can do. So.
Well, the neat thing about it is, we've talked about counterparty and Omni Protocol, this, that, and the other. All these things will be immediately possible to everybody. The thing that and they can back them by whatever value or lack of value that they can engineer. SafeCoins is inherently valuable because it's connected with the exchange of data. So it may or may not end up being we may not get rich on SafeCoin. You know what I mean? Eventually, maybe we will. Say we got a chunk of it in the crowd sale. It may not make us rich, but SafeCoin will change the world.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I think you still need to add value to get abundance of the money, right? Like, you still need to earn the money part of it somehow. And SafeCoin will increase in value, but you'd need a significant amount to make you wealthy, let's say, right?
Yeah, or hold on for a long time until it has to divide, just for, because there are only a few billion of them, over 4 billion. That's not enough to go very far.
But let's not forget. I wanted to add this, and I think it's important. 70% of the wealth is owned by 1% of the people.
Oh, I know.
Right?
And even if you were to redistribute it evenly, it would just end up that way a few years down the road again.
No. But Rich, between now and the end of the road, people live a better life.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't think it would end up, if it were dispersed, it wouldn't end up in those ways if we
You don't think so?
do our job. So, the SafeNetwork is a huge, I mean, people I don't think even all of us realize the magnitude of what this is that we're doing. Because it's a yes, it has to change minds. Minds are the things that change, that change society. But the internet itself is changing minds. Yes, it's being used as a surveillance tool, but we're here in a conversation from connected all over the world. Think of that as brain cells that have new connections. We get smarter as mankind. Now you take the bullshit, cut the surveillance with something like the SafeNetwork, and you're starting to change the dynamics by which minds can be changed, because it's not a matter of I'm going to change somebody's mind. No, it's an emergent intelligence that oh, look, I see something I didn't see before. Oh, I shared an experience with somebody and I have a different perspective. Oh, people have been lying to me. Oh, I wonder what the truth is. Those are the things that change. And as the internet has started to change, that Bitcoin has gone in a direction that has promised some of that. SafeNetwork is the next step in evolution technologically Well, I mean, it's part of, and it's part because you see it springing out elsewhere. You see IPFS. I mean, what Ethereum is doing is trying to go that direction. Demon Saw. You know, Safe Network is not the only in this direction. It's trying. It's an emergent thing in the civilization that's breaking out. But this is going to be the Safe Network I see as the most complete package that will really take a step in that direction.
And think about
Keep in mind also, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. I'm going to say one more thing. You keep in mind as you read the white papers and the GitHub, because I've just finally started actually digging into GitHub. I probably should have a while ago, but I was scared. But if you read how David Irvine presents things, he doesn't envision the Safe Network as an end-all or a be-all. This is a launch of a whole different paradigm and things that are going forward. He's not going to protect the Safe Network and say, "Oh, this is it. We've got to because we've made our stand." Say, "No, we've just lit the fuse on a whole string of rocketry."
Yeah.
That's what's going on right now.
Yeah, and I wanted to add is like if you have the like with Bitcoin, for example, if the money is behind a private key, you can't move it. And if we have like these contracts, now think into the future, people will have open source contractual agreements on things where the terms can be understood, right? And that is going to mean that, like, okay, if I sell my house to this guy, I'm going to lose 50% of what I paid. Okay, no deal. And you could figure that out easily because we're using computers and the contracts are digital. But if it says, it's going to give you about what you paid, then fewer people are going to get screwed over. Fewer people are going to enter poverty, essentially. See what I mean? So,
right.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, like, because we have these technologies, we can move society. We can move as a society with this technology. We can change our paradigm.
Exactly. It's a whole solution.
It is.
So I don't know if y'all are paying it. If y'all are.
I can't hear a word you're saying, my friend.
I guess.
Rich,
okay.
You're breaking up, my friend. Go on.
Okay, hold on. Can you hear me?
That's better, yeah.
I can.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Yeah, I can.
Okay. So, if you all open up something called Soundation, it's on the Google toolbar, Soundation Studio. Brady, I guess, will take us out later with some tunes that he put on there. I don't know if you all want to do that. It takes a while to download the WAV files, but I just thought I'd mention it in case you all were wondering what we were talking about in the group chat. There's something called Soundation on the toolbar that if you open it up, it'll start to download the files that Brady's uploading.
Yeah, I'm actually recording them right now. It's kind of cool. I like it.
Okay, sorry. I'm good at the. Okay.
No,
yeah, you probably wouldn't want to do it on your phone.
I was just going to say.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tim.
I was just going to say while we're on this very point, and I think it's really relevant, and you're absolutely right, John. I think what we're about to unleash is going to fundamentally change everything, and I think this is the really crucial moment that we actually stand in we've got momentum of history behind us, and we've got artificial standing there in front of us, and right now we have this very unique moment of time when we stand at a crossroads, and in 5 years' time we're not going to be able to have these conversations in a sense because these things have already been built, the ecosystem have already been built, or it would have been taken over by governments and corporations. So right now this is why I always say this is why it's, to me, the most inspiring times to ever be alive as a human being. But it's a little flame of light that we hold, and it can easily be snuffed out. And that's why I think it's crucial and so inspiring that we're here right now and we have these conversations. And that ties in a bit, Rich, to what I was trying to say to you on. You know, that's why I flag the fly. You know, I stand up for this very reason, because I think it needs faces, it needs real conversations, because that's what I think is a real strength. As I said, you know, people spreading this word to word, mouth to mouth to mouth, so it's not, so this thing can't be corrupted by suits or people in governments or generals or people whoever want to corrupt it, because right now this is the thing, we're here and we're shaping this, but it's a very small little window we're going to have. And as John, I know you pointed out, you know, many times when we've talked privately and in this conversation, you know, we have to bear in mind not everybody in the world right now has this, the opportunity or even, I don't mean this in the wrong way, but the mindset. This is something that, you know, like the printing press and like these great things only happen because of certain certain events and certain, you know, freedoms are allowed, and we're just lucky that we're living in parts of the world where we can have this conversation, because there's plenty of people right now who can't have this conversation. So this is a responsibility we hold, but equally it's the thing, as you were saying earlier on, John, and we all feel exactly saying, it fills you with that life energy where you do want to get up every day, and it's a really, like you say, it's a life-changing thing. And I think you're right, John. I think this is where we're all going to, as humanity, tap into this understanding that what we're tapping to, that swarm intelligence, actually makes us stronger as people, and we do have more energy and we do feel more alive. And I think that's going to be some of the real deep mind-blowing things that are going to really affect us as a species in the next few years.
Yep. There is a, you know, and the SAFE network is a really interesting example because its intelligence is emergent, and we can learn from that. You know, we can do our jobs, whatever our jobs are. Nobody has to be in charge per se, but we can have a say in direction. Anyway,
Right.
that's. I've also got to go to dinner soon, so otherwise I'll get the rambling and wax philosophic and making.
No, that's perfect.
Okay, I think. Who's Nathan?
Yeah, I
Nice
was gonna say Nathan, man. You've been sat there for like 10 minutes, man. Hi, Nathan.
How's it going, guys?
Hi, Nathan, man. How you doing?
Yeah, my handle on the forum is Infining, so if you've seen me there, I've been there for a month or so. Just listening in.
Cool.
Man, is there
Glad you
anything
made it.
particularly you want to chip into, or?
Not right now, really, but
That's
just
cool,
trying
man.
to get a handle on the situation, absorb much as I can.
Welcome.
I'm sorry, you said your handle was what?
Infining? I-N...
Infining?
Yeah, Infining.
Okay, cool.
What's your kind of, how long have you known about SAFEnetwork, and how did you get in, how did you get to find out about it?
It was actually somehow through Ethereum, I think. I was on their website, and then I saw the MadeSafe website through probably some Google searches, and was like, "Oh, this is weird. I don't know what this is about." The name kind of put me off at first, but then once I actually digged into the details, I saw the potential for something great. So
Welcome.
that was like a month ago or something like that.
That's an interesting one. What was it about the name that put you off?
I don't know. It's not really clear what that meant at first for me. So it's like, I don't know. I went to the home page. There's a little plane on the front page. I'm like, okay. And then Made Safe. That I thought it was like a maid service or something.
That's
So
what hooked me when I saw that plane with the banner. I was hooked.
Well, I only mention that because it's a story that it's a story that Nick Lambert shares, that he often has people walking into the Troon office and they have deliveries and people there, delivering parcels for MaidSafe.
Mhm.
And people are saying to them, "Oh, we just thought you were a cleaning operation. That you went in and tidied houses and stuff." So yeah, I think they're very aware of the name really, because it's like you said, it's you just envisaging some maid to turn up at your house and clean up anyway.
yeah, it's pretty funny.
Cool. So,
Yeah, but we'll realize We'll realize it took MadeSafe to clean up the planet of its internet infrastructure.
That's a good.
Yeah.
That's pretty clever.
Hey guys, I'm going to sign off. I'm going to check out. It's good to talk to you.
Well,
And
John,
hope to catch you again next week.
I was going to say, John, we're due to have one of these. I don't know, well, the next one due would be Boxing Day, so I don't know if we do, but if we do anyway, have a great Christmas, John. Have a great Christmas Day.
Yeah, take care, Joe.
I'm always in the mix. Y'all take care. Pleasure.
Yep. Thank you, John. Talk to you later.
All right, Dave.
All right.
Well,
I was gonna say I'd like to wrap up
no,
maybe
that's cool.
this meeting too.
We can all wrap up. I mean, unless anyone's got anything urgent to say. I mean, David, you've been very quiet tonight. Is there anything particular you want to sort of say while we're here before we wrap up?
No, I'm good. I'm just everyone focuses on like bells and whistles and externals and whatnot, and I'm more of the core problem guy, the guy that wants to make sure that the engine works, and then everything I do afterwards. So a lot of my focus right now is just making sure that we can bootstrap the network, that it runs smoothly, and then I'll focus on the externals later.
So that said, what is your opinion on what's going on with the routing? Have you talked to any of the guys? Like, have they solved the problems with the routing and the different types of routers that handle things differently and hide IP addresses and that?
Well, the thing is, they have a lot of messaging going through between the vaults, and according to one of the updates, they said that some of the messages don't go through, and it causes confusion with the vaults. You know, the vaults are supposed to be in constant contact and talking to each other and updating at the same time. So a lot of that came from bugs, and so they were cleaning up all the bugs in that area. And this might be technical, and most people probably aren't even going to understand what I'm talking about. But so, long story short, yeah, they're working through it. And I'm really hoping that once they get the routing done, because the routing is like, it's the foundation of the network. Without the routing, the vaults can't talk to each other, the clients can't talk to each other, and that's the core. If we don't have that right, then the whole network's not going to work. So, and then the next level is trying to bootstrap the network, which was the most recent SafeCoin RFC that's been going on. You know, there's an ideological conflict about getting something for nothing, and how do we start off the network, and how do we determine, you know, how much SafeCoin buys, how much storage and whatnot. And then there's another thread that was going on that was trying to work through the supply-demand formula while trying to absorb back the 430 million SafeCoins. So there's a lot of things going through my mind, and I'm constantly trying to give solutions and fix things, because I see them as, if I don't address them, then hopefully someone else smarter than me will do it. But if not, then, you know, I'm the guy that's going to try and fix it.
Well, that's perfect.
I'm always hoping there's someone smarter than me that comes along and, you know, has a better idea, can come out and say, hey, this works better than yours, Dave. I'm like, awesome, take over.
Yeah.
Well, but before we do wrap up, and you know, I just want to say a few sort of things, a couple of things really. I don't, no one will really be aware, but this is the 99th episode of Life is People, and I know 99 is a real sort of number, but particularly chimes with what we're doing within 99. And I just want to take this sort of occasion, and I don't want to be sort of, you know, anything other than being real based, but I really want to put a big shout out to you, Rich, because I know you've been by my side, man, ever since the day one of this. And you know, I remember back in the day of Safe Cafe days, the idea we would ever get to do sort of like the 99 editions of anything that, and so it's a really big shout out there. But I want to spread it out really, because it's not only Rich, but Travis and Dali and you know, Daniel and you, David, and man, you've inspired me greatly, and it's been one of the greatest things in my life personally of connecting with you people, and it inspires me greatly on a great deal. And as I was trying to say earlier on, that it's inspiring people that you're never going to meet, and you're never going to ever can get a chance to meet you face to face, and that's what in some ways I hope to try to do. I try to convey what people try to tell me about how much you're changing people's lives, and that's what I'm saying, because people, they don't come on the forum and stuff like that, but I know how much it's really affecting them. So I just want to say this because it's, you know, it means a lot to me personally, and I just wanted to tell you all that, and really, you know, again, whether we have one on Boxing Day or not, but you know, as much as none of us celebrate that day, but have a great holidays, people, and just, you know, while you got your friends and your family around, man, just look them in the face and give them a hug and tell them you love them, man, because that's the very essence of the Safe Network, and it's the very essence of us being human, and the essence of life is people, man. But Brady,
I agree.
Sorry, Brady. I mean, I want to finish, Brady, one of your songs. I think it's probably the best way of doing it, Brady. If you can just put it through your audio, and we'll just do it that way, then we can kill it before we end.
But
Yeah,
I'm wondering if since I downloaded it, Brady, can I play it and then it'll play through every, you know, play clearly, or can you?
I don't.
I'm just wondering.
That way. I think I have to. Actually
It won't
play you something, or you guys have to jump in there. Yeah, I don't think there's a way to do that.
That's a shame, because that makes sense why it wouldn't, though, because that WAV files are pretty massive. Okay, take it away live.
Well, I could play a live song for you guys if you'd like.
That's better.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. Well, look, that's perfect. I just want to say to you, here, Brady, that's for the you're having the honour of being the very first person in 99 episodes of this podcast to ever play live, man. So that's an honour for me, man. But like I say, man, I want to say to everybody that, you know, have a great, you know, holidays and stuff like that. And well, what's the name of this track you're going to play out with, Brady?
This one, you know, I'm just gonna kind of bleed into it and see. I've been playing with some new stuff, so let me just see what you guys think of this, and I hope you like it. It's a little bit of improv, half written, half improv, so I hope you like it. It's one of those I don't have a name yet kind of things, so this is exclusive ramblings of Brady. Can you guys hear that? Your expectations get the best, you gotta tear it down now. I did my best, dressed according to the person that you're breaking. I feel alive, but the only thing that I've been tasting is bittersweet of all that is now everlasting. Up to the golden sky. Take your time. Everything is better when it's done with saving. But golden light. But all you see is I've been faking. Up until tonight. The fight is all that you've been shaking. Your expectations get the best, you gotta tear it down now. I did my best, dressed according to the person that you're breaking. I feel alive, but the only thing that I've been tasting end is bittersweet of all that is now everlasting. Excuse the stuffy nose, I'm getting over a cold still.
That was really good. I liked it. It came out really nice on the over the even though it wasn't a hardcore wave file that had a shitload of data in it. Still came out pretty nice.
Well, good.
I like that.
It sounded like your title was bittersweet.
Awesome. Yeah. I'll, actually, what I'm gonna be doing here pretty soon, and I would love for you guys to participate as a little side project. I'm going to be really engaging listeners to the production process, which is why I was playing with this Soundation program. And I want to start really getting people engaged in that and make, your fans are what makes the music. And I think that should be quite literal. Like, your fans should make the music with you while you're writing it. And, if you hear a title out of a song, then by all means, I would love to incorporate that, because that's the way I think music should be. And I also want to start doing some interesting transaction smart contract related stuff. Right now I'm just doing some basic transaction splitting. So like if I do a track that my audience and people who like participated in something, what I'm going to be doing is tipping them a small amount so I can establish a Bitcoin address or any address for that matter. And then I'll split the payments automatically anytime that royalties are streamed into that song using platforms like BitTunes and MadeSafe, Ujo Music, and pretty much anything. I mean, there's the Library of Alexandria, and tons of them. N99, we gotta anything that it's about taking the audience and really just engaging them directly in the production process, and they should have a piece of that pie, because without fans, a musician is nothing. I mean, if you guys weren't listening to me, then that's what makes it. You're like, oh, okay, well, let's be a part of this, and it's what it should be.
If you hash out that idea, like in I'm sure you have already. You thought about this a lot, but if you think that N99 could be set up in such a way that that was a possibility to do something very much like what you're saying, where there's a contract that's built and people can log on and say, oh, I like this person's music, and they're doing a live, I'm trying to remember the name of this studio. I think the Peel Sessions. They were called the Peel Sessions, and I guess they were done in London, and people, to be a part of a session, like you're saying, and then that is the equivalent of like a live performance online, like you're saying, and then they know that if they're a part of that live performance, like you're saying, they can then be a part of that income. Is a fantastic idea. If you that would be great. I mean, if you want to sit down, like hash out like the what it would look like in code,
Well, I'm already doing it. I'm already doing it on a basic level. So actually, when we have a little more time, I'll message you guys after this and kind of hash out some of the details how I'm doing this. But if anyone is a musician and wants to participate in absolutely anything I'm doing, I'm going to be using all the collaborative platforms. I mean, I've gotten a huge list of all of them. Actually, there's Ohm Studio, Soundation, Blend, Compose, Splice, Soundtrap, Ninjam, Find My Song, Indaba Music. There's Soundslates, Song Silo, Hookus, Skytrax, Gobbler, Wavestack. I mean, I'm going to go to all of them, and I'm going to put my stuff up on there and collaborate with people and tip them when they collaborate. That way I establish some type of payment address. And considering there's things like Shapeshift, it's not going to be hard to tip them in, quite frankly, anything, and then just stream the payments through Shapeshift and done. I mean, it doesn't matter what their preference is, what they're using, what their platform is. If they'll let me tip them, we're good. There is a funny little problem with that, though. I actually had someone do some drum tracks for me, and they refused to be tipped. And I even explained all this to them, and they're like, "Nah, I don't want anything to do with it." I was like,
They're worried that men in black boots are going to knock their door down or something.
that must have been it, I guess. But it was a frustrating situation for me. So I guess, I don't know. We'll see how that goes. I don't know. There was a problem with if your fans are engaged in production, do they own part of the copyright? Are you going to run into a problem where you can't use what they contributed because they refused the tip and you couldn't stream a payment to them? That's the thing I'm struggling with right now.
Well,
And just make it
the
clear.
thing is copyright shouldn't exist in that world. I agree. I agree. It
just
it's you
makes
and the fans. So just go around that. Who cares?
But that's the problem, though. A lot of musicians, if you're collaborating with a musician, though, they're stuck in that mindset and can't get out of that, and might come back and sue you later, and might get away with it.
Well, Brady, all I've got to say to you is Flintstones, meet the Flintstones.
Yeah, pretty much. We're just going to disappear into a whole different
dimension.
reality, and then no one will, it just won't work. They won't be
Hey, they drove
dimensions.
cars in the Flintstones.
They weren't smart cars, and they weren't self-driving.
Yeah.
Music's the original binary language. I mean, it's a universal language. And now just listening to that, I realized why music is controlled so tightly as much as it is.
Yeah.
Because, boy, you don't need to say a word. You don't need a contract. You don't need anything. That doesn't matter what language I speak. I understand it. It was amazing.
That's the power of music, my friend. Music has always connected things, and that's a great thing. I mean, that's what you just said there, Travis, is exactly it. Because one of the essences of language is it can be constrained and it can be used and stuff like that. But music it hits you on a real level, and that's what I'm saying. To me, some of the most powerful elements in this world are visual communications when you look someone in the eye and you speak to them, whatever language you're in, and music. And I think they're just and touch. And I just think they're just very instinctive us as humans, and we've been lost them. Look, Brady, this is like any good session, man. We were meant to finish on your track, then we're doing this conversation. Man, you're going to have to play us out with another track now. The pressure's on because we were supposed to finish with a highlight, and then we end up having this as it was like a really good gig. And we're like, hey, these come out from the Broncos. Like, come on, finish us off on a good.
You're asking for an encore, huh? Right.
Yeah, come on, man.
All right, I got you. How's that sound? Don't know what, have respect for fellow man. They'd rather shoot to kill than shake your hand in hand. You hold your tongue and bide your time. Taste the blood, it blinds your eyes. It's all just another cutthroat rat race, feeling like through the game, racing for the light that's thinner every moment of every day. Some people are only wishing they could see the light that others see. Take a look in a new direction, see the light of the coming change. And I start to play, feeling like my nerves are on edge again. Well, I'm picking up on the sound and I start to sing. Ooh, let me hear that song again. Hear the rhythm and it sounds so smooth. Ooh, let me hear that song again. Hear the rhythm and it makes me sway on. Don't know one have respect for fellow man. They'd rather shoot to kill than shake your hand in hand. You hold your tongue and bite There you go.
Man, life is people, people. Life is people.